Good day everyone, I remain Matthew Ochaleka Itodo. This will be volume 2 in continuation of our last class. I want you to follow this online channel and get the last lectures. But in the course of this class, I am still explaining basic biochemistry of body fluid. And at this point, we'll be starting with the cerebrospinal fluid. Cerebrospinal fluid is a clear, colorless liquid formed within the cavities of the brain around the spinal cord. There are some objectives that I want us to achieve at the course of this class. And we have two major objectives to achieve in this volume 2. One of the objectives is to explain cerebrospinal fluid. Listen carefully now as I explain to you cerebrospinal fluid. Cerebrospinal fluid is a clear colorless liquid, and it is formed within the cavities of the brain. The ventricles. What it means is that there is a hollow fluid formed region of the brain that is occupied with fluid. It's around, every time you have, it's always around the brain and the spinal cord. So, and it's also around the spinal cord. And then to make it more clear, this cerebrospinal fluid, which is within the cavities of the brain and around the spinal cord, it is about 500 milliliters of cerebrospinal fluid. It is formed every day. So as you keep eating food, living normal life, as a result of your metabolic processes, 500 ml of cerebrospinal fluid, it is formed every day. However, all of them is not retained in the body. It is only about 120 to 150 ml alone that is retained in the body system to function. And that is to show that the remains is completely replaced about 3 times in a day. So they justify why we have only 120 to 150 ml in the system. Why? Because 3 times in a day they are replaced, means they are replaced frequently among the 500 ml that is formed every day. This cerebrospinal fluid, which is formed in the cavity of the brain and around the spinal cord, there are no lymphatic systems. What we mean by lymphatic systems, you have heard of lymphs, which is made up of a white blood cell. You also heard of the spleen. I believe that you also heard of the nodes, and all they are able to be carried about within the body through the process of this lymphatic systems. So it's the vessel that carry this fluid around the body. This cerebrospinal fluid drain into the cavity of the brain system and move into the space around the spinal cord. That is how the thing flow. So it follows this lymphatic system, these lymphatic vessels. It flows through this lymphatic vessel into the cavity of the brain, occupy the place, and then move around the spinal cord. Listen carefully as we proceed. Number 2 objectives that we'll be achieving in this class. At the end of the class, I want you to know that we might have achieved how to write short note on functions and collections of cerebrospinal fluid. These are the functions. Cerebrospinal fluid serves as hydraulic shock absorber. If you are talking about hydraulic shock absorbers, you all know what hydraulic means. Now, the way that it functions, it can diffuse the force from what? Hard blow to the skull. What it means is that, let me give you instance of a little baby that dropped from the bed to the floor. Instead of the impact from the floor affecting the brain, which will be very dangerous to the baby, the cerebrospinal fluid will act as a shock absorber to absorb the shock and the pain and prevent it from entering the brain by diverting it to the skull of the brain to avert a severe injury that may occur. Number two function is what? It helps in the regulation of intracranial pressure. This is what we mean by intracranial. Intracranial, actually we have about intracranial, we are talking about what? The brain. Means it helps to regulate what? The pressure that will happen within the brain. So that it will regulate the pressure that should occur within the brain. So it's a very important fluid when it comes to the region of the brain and the spinal cord. 3. It is believed that what? Cerebrospinal fluid influence hunger sensation and eating behavior. Listen carefully. Listen. Cerebrospinal fluid does not directly influence hunger sensation and eating behavior, but it happens indirectly. This is how it happens. You have heard of hypothalamus is a part of the brain that houses both the testing center and the hunger hormones that are present in the body. So what is happening is that the cerebrospinal fluid are the one that influence the metabolic processes that happen within the brain. So how the brain functions for normal body balancing is that the contribution is from the cerebrospinal fluid. So I will keep on like carrying nutrients flowing to the brain, supporting the brain to do the cellular processes, maintaining homeostasis of the body and whatsoever, and because of that, energy is lost. And so the hunger sensations and the eating behavior of the brain will be activated. That is how it happens indirectly, not directly. Collection of cerebrospinal fluid. Number one, listen carefully. Now I will explain the procedure for collection of cerebrospinal fluid. This is what it will mean. Now this fluid that flow to the brain, what do you think when this water fluid is not flowing adequately to the brain? What do you think? There will be what? Clinical conditions. Okay, what if the flow is not regulated? It's also what? Result to clinical conditions. And so it is very good that what there are conditions associated or related to the amount of cerebrospinal fluid flowing to the brain. And so there is a need for us to collect the fluid and carry out the biochemical analysis to see the level of it in the body, whether it is low or it is not adequate. We will know. And so the collection is done in this way. It's collected by what? Spinal puncture. What we mean by spinal puncture is by what? By inserting the needle into that regions where the fluid is to be collected from the spinal cord. That's what we mean by what? Spinal puncture. Take notice of this word when you are explaining the procedure. 2. This spinal puncture is performed in the lumbar region. If you are talking about the lumbar region, if you touch your spinal cord down to the brain, you discover that there is a kind of a bone-like that's happening there, like a hollow fluid region there. Continue down to the brain. That's where we can see our spinal cord. If you touch your back to the brain, you see the region of the spinal cord that we are talking about. So between the third and the fourth of this lumbar that is present at the back, connected to the brain, you can insert the needle to get this cerebrospinal fluid. And the position that the person can occupy, the person can also occupy a sitting position. The patient, whosoever you want to collect the sample from to examine, to carry out a screen on it, can have the sitting positions with the head flexed to the chest before the sample can be collected. This is a great day. I know the lecture is briefed. All these things happen for you to understand. So I believe that you have understand how to write short note on what? Cerebrospinal fluid. You can also describe the functions and the collection of cerebrospinal fluid. Please, when you listen and you go through the video, come to our next class with your questions. On my online channels, if you drop a question, I will reply to it. And if it is in class as my student, I will also reply to it. Thank you for giving me your listening ears.